Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So in the Arabic lesson today, I'm going to start with the Arabic sentences, but just let's just do a little revision. We started with the different kinds of words which are like ism, fail, and harf, and we did the properties of ism, and then we moved on to the fragments, in which are basically the combination of the words less than a sentence, and there are five kinds of fragments in which there is harf of jar and its victim, the harf of jar like bata, kaf, lam, waw, min, fi, an, ala, hatta, ila. So they make the word that comes next to them jar. And in the same way, there is harf of nasib and its victim inna, anna, ka, anna, bi, anna, laita, lakinna, la, Allah. So all these harf, they make the next word coming after them nasib. And then we did the muzaf and the muzaf ilay, that the first word it should not have an al, it should be light, and then it makes the next word a jar. The next word should be jar. So that combination is called the muzaf and muzaf ilay, and there is an off in between them. Then we did the Mosuf and the Sifa, which is basically the two words. One is the noun and the other one is the adjective, and basically all the four properties should match in both the words. Then we the last time we did the pointing fragments, which are basically haza, hazihi, haulai. Then there was zalika, tilka, and ulaika, ismul ishara, and the musharilai. That's what we did, that whenever after a pointing word there is an al, then that is a fragment, and that means that it's not a sentence. So now we're going to start with the Arabic sentences, and we will start with the Jumla Ismia, because ism is one that we have completed. So ism, these are Jumla Ismia. Basically from the name we can tell that these are basically the ism based sentences. There are two words which are invisible in Arabic. One is of, and we know that where in which like harf of jar and its victim, like we and the second invisible word is. So all the five fragments, basically they are in one, the one word is connected with the other word. So in all the five fragments, one word is connected to the other word in some way. Like minallahi, we know that it's the harf of jar has made the next word coming after it jar, and then in Allah, we know that this harf made the next word coming after it nasab. And similarly in all the five fragments, we know that the two words, they are connected with one another in one way or the other. Whenever we see a break in the chain, whenever there is the when we see in this in an ayat or in a sentence, we see that the two words are not connecting with one another, and there is a break in the chain, meaning that the two words are not connected by any of the five fragments, then there is an invisible is in between them. So we will understand this by this example, alhamdulillah, which we say. So alhamdu and then lillah is basically towards li and then Allah, and lam, we know that it's a harf of jar, so it made the next the word Allah jar. So alhamdulillahi. Now this lillahi basically is a harf of jar and majroor, the jar majroor. So we see now we have to see that is alhamdu connected to lillahi in some way. So how is alhamdu connected to lillah? Is it a jar or majroor? Is alhamdu and lillah jar majroor? We know that it's not a jar majroor. Then is it muzaf and muzaf ilay? There is an al over here, so we know that it cannot be a muzaf, so it cannot be a muzaf and muzaf ilay. Is it a mawsoof or sifa? We see over here alhamdu and lillah is he, so the one is rafa and the other is jar, so they cannot be mawsoof and sifa. Is it harf of nasb or its victim? So the alhamdu is not a harf of nasb, so it cannot be that. Is it a pointer fragment? Is it haza, hazihi, ulaika, all those, any of those? No, it's not, so it cannot be those. So alhamdulillah, these two words, they are not connected to each other by any of the five fragments. We have seen that. This means that there is no connection between alhamdu and lillahi, and there is a break in the chain here, and there is an invisible is in between. So there is a break of chain between alhamdu and lillahi, so that means that there is an invisible is in between them. So the translation would be alhamdulillahi means praise, alhamdu praise is for Allah, lillah is for Allah, and la means it means for. So and Allah, the word Allah, so praise is for Allah. So the thing to remember here is that we have to recognize, we have to try find the invisible is in the sentence, and how we can find whenever there is a break in the chain, whenever the two words, they are not connecting to each other by any of the five fragments, then that means that in between those two words there is an invisible is, and in that will come in the translation, because is, there is no Arabic word for is, and we have to find it. So how can we find that? Whenever the two words are not being connected by any of the fragments, and for that we know we need to to know all the five fragments by heart. And you know, harf of jar and harf of nasb is really easy. Those are just huruf, and if we know them, then we can just quickly see. And then the pointers are also really easy. If we see a pointer or not, the only two are the muzaf and the muzaf ilay and the musuf sifa, and that they are basically the only two that we need to know. And by that we can so see the two words, are they connecting or not, and if they are not connecting, then there is an invisible list. And we'll do some more examples in the next video inshallah to make it more clear. That's all for today's Arabic lesson. Fi aman Allah.